This is Hemant.
And Jessica.
And you're listening to the Friendly Atheist Podcast. Please go to patreon.com/Friendly Atheist Podcast to support this show, get your ad-free and bonus episodes, and now you can watch video of this because you want to find even better ways to hear this show by looking at our dumb faces while we talk about these stories and just see the tears.
And see all the beverages I consume in the course of this. I have 2 right now. I can do all things through multiple drinks.
There you go. And let me give a shout out to some of our more recent supporters. They include Shauna C., Kat, Maggie N., Miri, Pip, Carrie J., Heather R., Aaron R., Jason J., Kristen S., Dean M., Kelly, Bailey S. J., Rick J., and Wooter. Lots of you. Thank you so much. Wooter.
Kristen S., who's buried in there, is my college roommate / one of my bridesmaids.
Love it.
And she's about to move to Sweden, and guess who's going to go visit her in Sweden?
Everybody, live episode in Sweden. Make it happen. Thank you, Kristen, in advance.
I don't think she even listens. I think this is just like friends with money kind of way of supporting me. Really appreciate it, Chris. Love you. Okay. Here we go.
Start with an update to a story. This is kind of breaking news, and I don't quite know what to make of it. But basically, you may let me talk about the 10 Commandments because there was an update to one of these cases. Mm-hmm. Here's where we are at right now.
Yes.
3 states have passed laws saying, let's put the 10 Commandments, King James Version, in public schools.
It is
Arkansas.
Texas,
Yes.
Oklahoma,
Arkansas. No.
Louisiana.
Yes. So close, and you're ruining the whole story.
Okay, let's hit it.
Arkansas passed this law. They were sued over it.
Right.
A federal judge said, I'm going to put a stop to it for now in a handful of districts, but I haven't released my opinion yet. So we're waiting on that. In Texas, they passed this law. They got sued over it. A district judge said, I'm putting a stop to this in a handful of districts, but I haven't issued my full decision yet, so you got to wait.
Which means because the school year was starting,
right.
This
We need
judge
an
is
answer
like,
fast.
okay, we need to move on this, and then I'm going to take a beat, actually do some deep dive, and
I'll
then
issue my decision
let you know
later.
what we're doing next.
But in Louisiana, which was the first state to do this, they were sued over it. And last year, was it last year at this point? Time has no meaning anymore. It was June of this year, rather. A federal district judge. I know. A district judge said, I am issuing my ruling. It was 177 pages. It was well thought out. But that judge said, of course, this is unconstitutional.
Right.
And specifically, that judge made so many points that made this decision a delight to read. Among them, he said, for example, the other side claimed putting the 10 Commandments in schools was historical. There was a tradition to it. The judge said, in sum, the historical evidence showed that the instances of using the 10 Commandments in public schools were too scattered to amount to convincing evidence that it was common at the time of our founding.
And also, if it's tradition, then it would still be happening. That's how traditions do. Classically, I don't think traditions stop for 200 years and then start up again.
The judge said that if you put up the 10 Commandments, all of the plaintiffs' kids, the ones going to school, will be forced in every practical sense to be a captive audience and to participate in a religious exercise. He also said Louisiana is saying they can comply with the Establishment Clause by surrounding the 10 Commandments with other documents, quote, no matter how outlandish that material might be.
We've talked about 10 dual commandments.
We talked about a poster they suggested with Lin-Manuel Miranda's 10 dual commandments. Right.
So funny and stupid.
But the judge said the defendants, Louisiana, would have aggrieved parents and children play an endless game of whack-a-mole, constantly having to bring new lawsuits to invalidate any conceivable poster that happens to have the Decalogue on it. So basically, this judge tore down every argument made by the state and the Christian nationalists for why the 10 Commandments needed to go up in school. That was wonderful news. It's what we expected, but you never know with the legal system the way it is. And then what happened? Louisiana said, fine, rule whatever you want. We're going to appeal this to the notoriously conservative Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. And few months ago, this is what happened in June. That judge's decision came out earlier. But this past June, the appeals court weighed in, a 3-judge panel, appointed, by the way, with judges appointed by Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Joe Biden. But unanimously, they said, yeah, what the other judge said. Everything he said is right on.
Just co-signed.
Co-sign. They basically said, look, the law of the land is that you can't put a standalone 10 Commandments anything in public schools. You can't put a monument in front of a courthouse. And by the way, that decision from the Supreme Court from decades ago, they wrote, is still in effect. It's still controlling. And under that law that the Supreme Court said, you can't do that, that's illegal. Well, we're still bound by that. So this 10 Commandments law is illegal.
Okay.
So they said, quote, the district court did not err. They didn't make a mistake. It was the right decision. So that's where we were at with Louisiana.
Okay.
So when they were when the church-state separation groups were filing lawsuits in Texas and Arkansas, they're like, look, you should rule in our favor. By the way, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals has already weighed in on this and said we're right.
Okay.
So that's where we were at. But this week, we got an update.
And is next step Supreme Court?
The next step, there's two options. If you're Louisiana at this point, you've now lost twice. You can do two things. You could say, we want to take this right up to the Supreme Court, but that's a hard push when everyone's ruled against you.
Sure.
And this really is not controversial.
Sure.
But the other option is, hey, Fifth Circuit, you gave me a random selection of 3 judges to rule on this matter, which is how it works. But there are a lot of judges on the entire circuit. Can we ask all of you to weigh in on this? And this is the update we got this week on Tuesday.
And how many? So that goes from 3 to how many?
Like 12, 15. I don't know how many. It's a different number. Every appellate court seems to have a different number. But what we learned this week is that the entire Fifth Circuit has agreed to hear this case now. The entire Fifth Circuit says, yeah, we all want to crack at this one. And that means they have now vacated the earlier ruling that said, what the district court judge said is still good. They said, I know that was a unanimous ruling from 3 of our colleagues here, but we're nixing that. That's no longer in play. And we're all going to rehear this case, and then we will issue our real decision.
And is their ability to do this truly just based on they can afford to keep pushing it through the court system? Like,
they can take internal polling, and they could say, well, it looks like we're all divided on the ruling that our colleagues made, and maybe they don't do this often, but we want to take another stab at this. And maybe once all of us hear your arguments, we may come to a different decision. We don't know what they're going to do necessarily, but
it just seems very, oh man, maybe I really, 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 truly don't understand how the law works, because they seem really, really into precedent, unless it's like, except for what my friend said, and I hate that, and I'm going to do it. Like, are they trying to get a swing at this ball because they want it to pass? Like, is that what your sense is?
Because they want to allow the 10 Commandments to stay up? Yes, that's the fear. The fear is that the Fifth Circuit, again, notoriously conservative, and shit, on this case that we all really like, because it's about the 10 Commandments in school, the random selection went to 2 judges appointed by Democrats.
And how dare they?
Even though all 3 of them said, yeah, what the earlier guy said. But they're like, that was not what we wanted. So let's all overrule our friends here and all take a crack at it. Now, here's what the...
And do they have to be unanimous?
No.
Majority rule?
Majority rule.
Just simple majority.
Yeah. Now, here's what the church-state separation groups have said. The 3-judge panel, the panel's unanimous ruling last June was well-reasoned and correctly followed binding Supreme Court precedent. We believe there is no reason to revisit it. Nevertheless, we look forward to presenting our client's case to the entire Court of Appeals, and we remain confident that the constitutional values and principles at the heart of the First Amendment, which guarantee, like they're reminding the judges, which guarantee religious freedom for all students and families, will prevail in the end. We emphasize that the district court's preliminary injunction order in this case, where the court found that this law is unconstitutional, is not disturbed by the Fifth Circuit's decision to rehear the appeal, which is a long way of saying when that earlier judge said it's unconstitutional, that's still in effect.
Right.
Now, I believe that was a preliminary injunction that just applies to those schools at first.
Right.
So even
the ones who are part of the lawsuit?
Yeah.
You mean?
Right. So even if the appellate court said we approve that, they're saying, well, then the earlier decision is still on our side. So it doesn't mean, hey, Louisiana, go rush to put up 10 Commandments monuments everywhere you can go find. Like, don't do that yet, because we're still on the winning side of this. But I mean, there's no good reason for the appellate court, the full one, to take up this case unless a lot of the judges said, I think we have the numbers to overturn what our colleagues said.
And finally, we'll get this country back.
Something like that.
I just spent the weekend with my best friend in Kentucky, and her husband works in the film industry in Louisville. And since I've known him, my sort of view on the entertainment industry has truly drastically changed to like, hey, you know, my friend Jeff is a camera operator and he should not have to work 18-hour days for no specific reason. And like, so I've been noticing a lot of like waste and frivolous use of resources. And I just can't help but think like the amount of money and manpower that's being put into this stupid lawsuit is like, what could it do? What could it do that isn't just like make people get up and spend all day in court? Like, how many people's lives is this affecting? Not even just like the kids, but just like the guys who have to, like, other shit isn't getting done because they're doing this.
Let me make a correction to what I said earlier.
Oh,
that
good.
was a preliminary injunction in November of 2024 from the district judge. It was last year. But what that judge said is it doesn't just apply to the plaintiffs in this case. He said this law that you have passed is unconstitutional, and I'm ordering that none of these schools, this ruling that he made, it applies to all Louisiana public elementary, secondary, and charter schools and all public post-secondary education institutions. So you can't put this up in any schools.
Okay.
It's not just the plaintiffs.
Okay.
So right now, Louisiana schools cannot put up the 10 Commandments, even if that appellate court's decision has been vacated.
It still goes down to the original judges.
We go back to the original ruling. It says 10 Commandments are unconstitutional, and now we wait for the Fifth Circuit to weigh in, the full Fifth Circuit.
And what time frame are we looking at?
I don't know when they're going to hear it. They haven't scheduled the hearing. It's just going to happen in the future.
Are we talking weeks or months or?
No idea. I mean, probably the next couple of months is my guess, but they haven't assigned a date yet. So I don't know what to do with that information. Are they saying we want to hear this because we think there's a chance our colleagues argued it incorrectly? They don't have to answer that right now.
Right.
But you have to wonder, why did the entire circuit want to take this one up when it seems like no one in any court has said there's any problem with these rulings?
So far, not a single like person who professionally practices law has been like, no, this is good. Like,
right.
Everybody.
And again, remember, the Christian nationalists arguing this are not saying it's legal because it's Christian or it's religious discrimination if you say no. They're saying this is just tradition. We want to go back to the way schools used to be, and how dare these secular people.
And ending at seventh grade.
But they're all these judges have weighed in and said there's no tradition of putting the 10 Commandments up in public schools, so you're lying to me. So no.
How many of these people do you think can name all 10 commandments off the dome in order?
Famously, very few of them.
Really? Oh, has somebody done that already?
Oh, yeah. Stephen Colbert did it on the Colbert Report.
God damn it.
Where he just literally, the congressman, I forgot which one, who tried to pass a law to put up the 10 Commandments in public spaces, did an interview with Colbert. He's like, puts up his hands. He's like, name all 10. And the guy couldn't do it. I mean, it's great.
Wow.
Anyway, we'll wait to see what happens now. I don't know, but...
Are you feeling terrified? Are you feeling...
I mean, I never feel good.
That's true. I don't know why I bothered asking.
So let me jump to a slightly happier story. And listen, some of you thought we were done with Ryan Walters.
We will never be done with you, Ryan Walters.
But
you will be the last breath of air out of my warped dead body, Ryan Walters.
But this is actually good news. So when we talked about him last week, it's because he announced he was resigning, and he has since left.
So he could become a professional union buster.
That's correct. So he submitted his formal resignation letter to Governor Kevin Stitt. He is gone by the end of September. It's now been 1 week, and he's not there anymore.
And how are things going?
Since that day, last week, there's probably 3 things I want to draw your attention to.
Outstanding.
Okay. Number one, let's talk about his replacement. Because I was reading an article in an Oklahoma publication of like, okay, if Ryan Walters is gone, who's going to take his place?
It's an elected position?
It is an elected position, but since he's resigning, they just need a temporary person to take helm of the Department of Education until next year's election.
So 2026's election?
Is when Ryan Walters would have been up for re-election if he wanted it.
They don't have an emergency, like a senator kind of thing? Emergency?
Nope.
Okay.
So basically, Governor Kevin Stitt can just put anyone he wants in charge of that position until next year's election.
And he's like, I'm going to put a potato in that desk, and it's going to cause me so much less heartache.
And all of a sudden, Oklahoma jumps up to rank 45. But when I was reading an article about who might replace him, a lot of the people on the list were recently retired Republican members of the state legislature because they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And obviously they're of the governor's party. So that seems like where you would go.
I'm very curious because as we discussed, the governor is Republican, but he is not as out of his entire goddamn mind as a lot of them, or certainly as Ryan Walters. Compared to Ryan Walters, he seemed moderate.
Kevin Stitt is very much a conservative Republican who wants to be on Trump's good side.
Okay.
But because everyone hates Ryan Walters, he also hates Ryan Walters.
I see.
Okay? Or at least that grew over time, where he's like, everything you do is about you, and you are making me look bad.
Totally.
I'm paraphrasing. I assume that's what's going through Kevin Stitt's head. What's amazing is that when it came to his replacement, Stitt did not choose anyone that even the local journalists were like, well, probably one of these people. He didn't choose anyone from that list.
Oh, God.
He chose a guy who's not even an elected Republican and wasn't in the past.
Oh.
He appointed a guy named Lyndall Fields, Lindel, Lyndall Fields. And what's unusual is this is not an overtly political appointment. If you look at this guy's giving records, like campaign donations, he's given money to Kevin Stitt, but we're talking $1,000 at most in a previous election and a few $100 to other candidates he likes.
It doesn't seem like he's bought his way into this.
Right. If you're going to buy your way into it, we would be talking a lot more money.
Yeah.
But he's also given to some Democrats. Not a lot.
What?
Not a lot, but mostly he gives to Republicans. I would assume he is a Republican.
Do you have a time frame that he
past
gave
several
to
years? This isn't something he did 30 years ago.
It was he
in the past couple
donated to George McGovern or whatever.
Couple of years, he's given to both parties. And here's his background. This guy's 54 years old. Fields spent nearly 12 years as the superintendent of Tri-County Technology Center in a city in Oklahoma, after previously serving more than 9 years as an assistant or deputy superintendent at the same place. So he has more than 20 years of experience running an educational facility. After retiring from I don't know if it's a nonprofit or for-profit, but he ran a company called Career Tech. But he retired from there in 2021. He retired from that in 2021, and then he founded a leadership consulting firm.
Oh, that's where the money is, gang.
But basically, none of that raises any crazy red flags.
He seems mildly qualified.
He worked in education for many years, and assuming his for-profit work is not a scam, but just I run a consulting firm, then you know what? All right, fine. So you work in the business world.
All capitalism is a scam, Hammett. That's how they get you.
But not only that, this guy has already said, I'm not running for election for this next year. I'm here to I'm
a placeholder.
Yeah, I'm a placeholder. I'm going to be here till the end of 2026, that election happens, or at least beginning of 2027, when my replacement takes over.
Make sure dust doesn't collect on the desk.
Yeah, all I want to do is, he said, he is, quote, laser focused on what needs to be done at the state agency, listing student reading proficiency, teacher recruitment and retention, and expanding students' future career options as his priorities. And Stitt said, that's all I want. Stitt said,
oh, so you're just going to do your job?
Stitt said,
how exhausting.
What are you focused on? He said, that was a question I asked in the interview process because I wanted somebody not focused on the next election. Let's focus on the kids.
Because I've been burned before.
Yeah. The implication is that Ryan Walters was not interested in focusing on the kids.
Oh, this is dating in your 20s versus dating in your 40s.
I just want a human who is normal.
Who is a regular person, and I don't have to like stumble over a body.
And that's not settling. That's exactly what I want.
All I need. It's all I want.
So Fields will also be surrounded, like when Ryan Walters left, a couple of his MAGA Christian nationalist cronies also left. And so Fields has now replaced a lot of the leadership positions in the Department of Education with other people who, if you read their bios, they also have real credentials.
I didn't...
Like they ran the Tulsa school system or something.
Sure.
Like,
Tulsa,
you know what I mean?
The Paris of Oklahoma. Hold on, I'm so sorry. This guy is like just doing his regular job.
He's doing a regular ass job, or at least that's what it looks like right now.
Wait, can you dig back into, I did not realize, I guess I should have, that Ryan Walters had a crew,
Remember,
like a bully crew that rolled with him?
Reporters would email the Department of Education. They're like, hey, you're doing a thing and we have questions about it. And one of Ryan Walters' minions would always respond to reporters like, you're asking that because you're a dick. Let me tell you what we're doing here. That's basically, and that's what Trump's people do as well.
Sure.
The difference is they're not minions anymore. They're like running the Justice Department now.
And they're still mad because they still have no control somehow.
Yeah, somehow. So Ryan Walters was surrounded by other MAGA people. Like, everything he did. And those people are basically gone
everybody
now.
Wow.
Either they left or Lindell is like, all right, I'm getting rid of you because I don't know what you do here.
Oh, good point.
But I'm replacing you.
I bet Ryan Walters would have loved for people to walk out with him.
Oh, I'm
my
sure.
God.
He thought he was a martyr.
His Rudy moment.
He's surprised the Department of Education's still going with him gone at this point.
I can't believe
that's
There's
changed.
nobody to accuse the governor of sabotaging him.
So that's change number one. Good change, it looks like, for now. It's only been a week, but it looks like there are competent people at the helm, maybe?
I know this is famous last words, but I don't know how it could have gotten worse.
Right. So second change
is
the Department of Education's website in Oklahoma. Because if you saw it 2 weeks ago, and we can, because you can look at the Internet Archive, you would think it was Ryan Walters' personal page. For example,
funny.
At the very top of the page where it says, welcome to the State Department of Education, literally it's 3 short paragraphs. Like, we are the state education agency, blah, blah, blah. Second paragraph, the current state superintendent of public instruction is Ryan Walters. Third paragraph, he is passionate about the students of Oklahoma and advocating for their immediate and long-term success. And then a box, read more about Superintendent Ryan Walters. Like, very much, let me tell you about myself.
Wow.
Right? That's the top of the
Vanity
website.
project.
It included a link to the, quote, Story of America, which links, if you click on that link, it takes you to Ryan Walters' new social studies standards, which were Christian nationalists, full of election misinformation. It has links to PragerU. There were also on the front
easy
page
to predict.
Yeah, on the front page under Story of America, there were links to their press releases that were put out.
Good news, slavery didn't happen.
2 of the 4 press releases on the front page when I checked last week. Superintendent Walters, quote, every high school will have a Turning Point USA Club America chapter. And also another one, teacher removal and districts under investigation regarding Charlie Kirk. That's the press releases from the Department of Education.
Wow. This is a man who takes pride in his work, which is educating the children of Oklahoma.
Yes. Then you keep scrolling down.
Don't make me.
And he has a link to the Office of Religious Liberty and Patriotism, which is a page on which he insisted the 10 Commandments could be posted in classrooms.
Is that a real department?
True.
Or
unofficial,
is it just
unofficial department?
Is it just a subhead?
It's just a thing he linked to on the site. But he insists on that page you could put up the 10 Commandments in classrooms. That's not true. He falsely claimed public schools went too far when defending church-state separation. And he blamed that on, quote, litigation-fearful board attorneys and outside anti-religion groups.
Outside of what?
Outside of Oklahoma, I guess. But also, not only is church-state separation legal in Oklahoma, not because school board attorneys are fearful, it's because it's the law. And also, remember, Ryan Walters sued the Freedom from Religion Foundation for sending warning letters to 2 districts that were breaking the law. And a federal judge tossed out Ryan Walters' lawsuit saying, the hell are you talking about?
This is not what a lawsuit is, sir.
That's what the website looked like a week ago when Ryan Walters was still there. Today, that website looks normal.
Wow.
The front page has no mention of Walters. It doesn't even promote Lyndall Fields. It just is like, hey, welcome to the State Department of Education. Here's where you click if you're an educator, an administrator, a family member, or someone in the community.
But what religion are they?
There's even a link.
How much Christian?
There is even a link right under that if you want to apply to become Teacher of the Year.
We should apply for that.
We should. Which was not at the top of the page when Ryan Walters was there.
You can apply to be Teacher of the Year yourself. I love this development.
I mean, right? And
I'm going to apply for Podcaster of the Year.
I want to be clear. Not every vestige of Ryan Walters is gone, and it should not be for archival purposes. And you could still find a lot of the stuff he did if you know where to look for it. But it looks like one of the first orders of business once Ryan Walters left is, can we just professionalize stuff again and make this place normal?
I mean, isn't that just always the way of like, can we just like straighten out the desks and pretend this is a real
this
workplace?
Is my fingers crossed if there's ever another election, if Democrats ever find a way to win anything ever again. First order of business is, can we just clean up these fucking places?
Oh my God.
Forget our agenda. Let's just
truly
get rid of the scent.
Can we go back to Gulf of Mexico and Department of fucking Defense instead
Can someone change the maps? Yeah. The third development.
Oh God.
And this may be the most potentially important, but we'll see, is that as soon as he left, the Attorney General of Oklahoma, Gentner Drummond, who's conservative and running for governor as a Republican, but has also been good about church-state separation, knock on wood. He's like, here's what he said. Drummond requested the Oklahoma State Auditor and Inspector's Office investigate the Education Department's finances over the entirety of Walters' tenure in charge, beginning January of 2023 through Tuesday.
Oh my God. They're going to go after him for fraud or money laundering or something?
They're looking to see what he did.
Yes!
And Drummond...
USA, we got Capone this way, baby.
You can roll out the banner, but again, like Trump, does anything ever stick?
No, but boy, oh boy, I would love to get a little Peekarooski inside those ledger books because I bet they are fucked, and I guarantee you there's something deeply untoward on there somewhere.
Drummond said Walters had a, quote, well-established history of mishandling tax dollars. So they're going to investigate. But before you get excited... No, because
I thought the greatest moment of my life was when a capybara snuggled with me this past weekend, but now it's just right now.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, wait. Just let me enjoy it for another second.
You can
before
enjoy
you tear
it.
it down.
I will tell you. Okay. We've talked about this before, but Walters withheld $150 million that the legislature had already allocated for security enhancements because they want to stop school shootings by giving you different doors.
Yeah, well, I have some other thoughts on that, but okay.
But he had withheld that money, some of it, so that the schools couldn't have access to it.
And he for also, like a stupid reason, right?
Because he's like, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Whatever. He also hid information about how he spent taxpayer dollars for his office's travel budget because he would go to right-wing Christian conferences with a posse and then not tell people how he was spending taxpayer dollars. He did not respond to open records requests in a timely fashion.
Oh my God.
Because again, who's surrounding him in this office? Minions, not people who know how to do their jobs. And he refused to spend money that he was also legally obligated to spend because the legislature allocated it on asthma inhalers for students.
That's right.
So there is reason to investigate what this guy was doing during his 33 months in office.
Somebody's doing it. They have the, oh my goodness, I'm so
sure
fucking happy.
Even if people had asked, Ryan Walters could always come up with a reason not to hand over stuff, and now he's gone. So maybe people could find out what the hell he's doing.
Now that you say this, I'm kind of shocked that he left the post without cleaning up after himself. Because there's no way
I'm sure he's not used to cleaning up after himself.
That's a good point.
Even metaphorically,
he's a white dude.
like this is a guy who's just like, I get whatever I want.
It really is.
Whatever. I don't have to clean up any messes.
I was saying to him before we were recording, I listened to an absolutely outstanding podcast series about Aaron Hernandez. And genuinely, one of the major through lines is like anytime a bad thing happened to him, he would just go completely calm and just basically wait for somebody to deal with it.
Yeah.
And apparently up until the moment he was found guilty, he was clearly, it's like the Firefest guy. They're just going to do what they do and assume some minion's going to come in, clean up their mess and take none of the credit.
Now, here's the downside. Kevin Stitt ordered a similar audit in 2021 for different reasons about somebody else, and the state auditor and inspector has yet to complete it. Why not? I don't really know.
Is it a mannequin?
I have no clue. But maybe in the case of Ryan Walters, there is an added incentive to get that audit done quickly. Because if you're Attorney General Drummond and you are running for governor at the end of 2026, you would love to be able to go to voters and say, not only do I care about running this state well, I don't care if it happens in my own party.
Yeah, I'll hold my people to
I
account.
audited Ryan Walters and found this corruption. He would love to go there and try to win over voters that way.
Do you think that would backfire though?
No. Not if he said, maybe I agree with him on a lot of stuff, but he still has to spend the taxpayers' money responsibly, and I'm holding him to it. I don't think that would backfire with Republican voters.
But Ryan Walters will just lie.
Ryan Walters is not Trump.
Fair.
These people have an allegiance.
Fair.
If Trump did that, fine. But Ryan Walters wants to be Trump. None of these Republicans are Trump.
No.
Again, if Trump disappeared and J.D. Vance ran for anything, nobody likes J.D. Vance. They'll tolerate him because he's promoting their agenda. But these people do not have a cult of personality around Ryan Walters.
Even at all. Anybody. Is there anybody even in the neighborhood?
No. So
great. That's good news.
If Attorney General Drummond wants to do this audit, I'm sure he can put his finger on the scale and say, get this thing done by this date. Because if there is something there, I want to go after the guy. Because I can tackle corruption. That's why you should vote for me as governor. Whatever. That's his campaign message. Because again, he needs to win in a primary
right
against other MAGA people.
But I guess that was my sort of, not concern, but like, I'm curious if... I do think that there are a lot of voters out there who prize loyalty over honesty.
Maybe. But again, if you're him and Kevin Stitt's not running and you're trying to go up against other people, you're in the lead already.
Yeah.
So how do you maintain that lead? You say, I will go after corruption wherever I can. There's a deep state here and Ryan Walters was a part of it. You say that and Ryan Walters isn't in the media every day to fight back.
You're right. Yeah.
Great. So anyway, we'll see. By the way, apparently, I did not know this, in the office for the Department of Education, they had an Oklahoma Educators Hall of Fame, which had photos of coaches and administrators who had worked in their buildings for decades and decades. They made huge contributions. Apparently, Ryan Walters had it all taken down. But since the new guy...
Wait. Ryan Walters had it taken down?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I don't know, he wants one giant picture of himself, I assume. But as soon as he left, again, first order of business, when Fields got into the offices, put the Hall of Fame back up. So it's back up.
What a, fruitlessly nasty thing to do. Nobody can do good but me.
Right?
I'm a boy.
They do not care about educators. And by the way, coaches. I read an article where teachers are celebrating. These quotations are great. Quote, this is from a teacher named Jamie Cole. There's been several parties and several celebrations that just spontaneously popped up out of nowhere. Teachers are walking around with smiles on their faces and lots of high fives. There is no sadness. I hear from the teachers across Oklahoma who have reached out to me. It's just nothing but pure joy and pure hope.
Wow.
And this Sunday, outside the Oklahoma State Capitol and sponsored by the Oklahoma Rural Schools Coalition, there is literally a party that is going to be held that they got a permit for to, quote, mark Walters' resignation and to send him off the only way he deserves, with hugs, laughter, music, and a whole lot of farewell signs.
Wow.
Hundreds of people have already registered to attend. So
holy shit.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Now,
they so deserve this kind of catharsis.
They do. The state is still ranked, depending on which metric you want to use, which website you use, 48, 49, or 50 on the education rankings.
Well, it's been a week and a half, so
I know. So it'll take some time to undo that, but it seems apparent to everyone that the biggest obstacle to rising in those polls has now walked away. We'll see. I don't know who's running for this seat. It is possible that this guy helms the ship properly, but it's only going to be for another year.
Yeah.
And then what happens? Because this is the question. I don't know who's in the running, who's the legit candidate who's going to win this time next year. And if you elect someone like Ryan Walters again, they're going to go right back to their messed up ways. And you have to wonder, okay, you have a year to get things right again. Can you turn that into a political victory as well? Is there a Republican, because it is Oklahoma, is there a Republican whose entire campaign message here for this superintendent of public instruction job is, I won't fuck things up like Ryan Walters did.
Yeah.
I'm just going to run a professional agency that does the job we need to do, and it's not about me.
You're not going to hear
Elect
my name.
me, and then you will never hear about me again.
Yeah, that's all we want.
Right.
I think a lot about the ripple effects of this. Like how many, he's only been in office for 2 years.
Ryan Walters?
Yeah.
33 months, almost 3 years.
And I cannot imagine the number of adults who decided to quit teaching, who decided to leave the state, and that you can't unring that bell. Like people aren't going to come back to education because Ryan Walters left. They're gone.
Yeah. And how many teachers from California did not want to come to Oklahoma because they didn't want to take that PragerU fake test?
And they were lined up at the border to get, they were truly the Sooners of the 21st century. Every decision he made was bad and wrong.
Yes.
It's almost impressive.
Speaking of bad and wrong, want to get to this story? It's not often.
Very excited about this.
It's not often that Jessica sends me a link and says, look at this. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is good. I'll stop what I'm doing now so we can talk about this in the show.
It's almost never, because I am trying so hard to be offline, but my thumbs just will pop open Facebook sometimes on their own accord. And boy, oh boy, I was thrilled to see this headline.
Yeah. So the backstory here is that whenever we talk about Christian culture, it's always like a sad attempt to replicate something that's already working in secular culture. So there are popular movies. Christians try to make God's Not Dead.
And they're so bad.
With some anomalies, with God's Not Dead made a lot of money, but a lot of those movies suck. Including God's Not Dead, because they are more interested in hammering you over the head with a religious message than telling you a decent, nuanced story or hiring good actors so you have to settle for Kevin Sorbo.
And they accuse Democrats of culture wars.
Oh, yeah. And then what about music? Like contemporary Christian music might be catchy. Like they play it in churches and it has a huge audience, but the Jesus-heavy lyrics make it so cringy. And like South Park has spoofed it. Everyone has spoofed it. Even attempts to make overly right-wing sitcoms, and I've seen versions of them, are embarrassing because it is so clear that acting and writing talent are not their priorities. They just want to give you the message that they feel you're not getting from traditional sitcoms.
Truly, one of my great theories is that the reason all conservative TV, literature, everything is such trash is because there is no such thing as a conservative artist. Like if you're an artist, you're probably not conservative because you understand art. You're
not doing anything that is going to shape how people think because you're not really challenging our minds. That goes against what you do.
Yes.
So the bottom line is when it comes to pop culture, Christians usually create cheap imitations that are never as good as the real thing, which is bringing us to this headline because that apparently goes for late night talk shows too.
So they have tried to do conservative late night talk shows multiple times. Gutfeld is the only one I can think of off the top of my head.
Gutfeld we'll talk about in a little bit because that one is currently on Fox News and it is arguably the highest rated late night talk show if you want to put that one in the same category as other like Colbert, Fallon, whatever.
Canceled.
But yeah, like Gutfeld is on Fox. It is ostensibly a comedy show, but the difference is you're not watching it because you want to watch like the traditional monologue and guess. You're watching it because you want to watch a guy who is a conservative comedian.
The attack helicopter joke 4 times in a set.
My pronouns or whatever. If you want to hear that for however long a night, all right, that's a thing. But so they've tried to do it. And the only reason that one is successful, I think, is not because of Gutfeld. It's because it's on Fox and it's on a time of night when people are able to watch.
They leave their TV on.
Yeah. So according to The Guardian, in an article that just came out this week, a wealthy conservative group spent hundreds of thousands of dollars developing a late night talk show
embarrassing.
that was hosted by the conspiracy theorist Eric Metaxas.
No, I do not know who this person is. Do you know who this person is?
Yeah, we'll get to him. Now, at least they said in the article 4 pilot episodes were filmed in front of a live studio audience, but they were so bad that the show was never picked up by anybody. Oh, and The Guardian included a highlight reel, and I use that word very loosely, but it became very clear that this is not funny, and they did not hire joke writers, apparently.
No, what I skimmed over was basically like, hey, conservatives, aren't you sick of the same bullshit that liberals keep talking about over and over? And not here. We're going to push the envelope. And then the joke is like, Harrison Ford is in a new Indiana Jones.
I'll read it for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'd hate to butcher this wonderfully crafted joke.
Oh, yeah. I'm reading the exact quote. Big news in the world of show business. Harrison Ford will be returning for a 5th Indiana Jones movie. Yeah. In this one, Harrison will find an ancient artifact by looking in the mirror. That was his opening joke for that episode.
You're lying. That was the opening joke?
The opening joke.
Is there even a new Indiana Jones movie coming out?
At the time this was filmed, yes.
Okay.
So I guess based off of the headlines.
It was current events, basically.
Here's what the Guardian said.
Headlines.
Here's what the Guardian said. Again, this came out, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. The Guardian sat through nearly 4 hours of The Talk Show. It's literally called The Talk Show.
So embarrassing.
And found it to be an almost exact copy of existing late night shows, just worse. With hack jokes about tired issues and has-been conservative guests. ... Unfortunately, across the 4 pilots, Metaxas's comedic bent was noticeable only by its absence.
Wow, that's a devastating thing to say.
The common theme among the guests was that they had been naturally phased out of existing talk shows due to their irrelevance. And the company's pitch to investors had promised big-name guests. It did not deliver, apart from an interview heavily touted by Metaxas with filmmaker Ron Howard. The interview turned out to be from a press junket where directors or actors sit in a room for 8 hours and basically anyone with a press pass can schedule time to question them.
A nightmare.
Odds are Ron Howard had no idea who he was talking to. He's just like, oh, you're the next one? Fine, you get 10 minutes.
I've seen America's
Ask
Sweethearts.
me whatever.
I know this press junkets.
Right. So that's what the Guardian said about the show. Now, here's what I did not see in the article. The show that he filmed, that's not news. The Guardian did not find these episodes out of nowhere because all 4 episodes have been online for about over 2 years now.
Okay.
All 4 episodes are online. They have been available since January of 2023, which is probably when they were filmed. I don't think they put them up like months afterwards.
Okay.
They put them up pretty quickly. And
on YouTube or
on YouTube? Yeah, all 4 are on YouTube on Eric Metaxas's channel. The news that the Guardian broke is that according to leaked documents they were able to get their hands on, they found out how much money people were trying to spend to get this off the ground, who funded that, and the fact that it failed pretty badly. So here's
Friendly
what you need to know.
Patreon.com/Friendly Atheist Podcast.
You have hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend on this? On a Harrison Ford joke?
Oh my good God. The shit I could do with that. I put this setup together with spit and a prayer. Like the shit I could do with actual real professional equipment.
Here's another joke. Barbie's longtime companion, Ken, just turned 61 years old. Yeah.
How old is he?
And he said the perfect gift for his birthday would be to finally get a prostate.
I don't get it. Why does he want a prostate?
I didn't even know he had parts down there. I thought that was
smooth.
The joke.
Literally smooth like a Ken doll. Wait, that doesn't make any... That's not even a joke. Finally getting a prostate? Is that a thing men are...
I guess.
Stupid.
Here's another one. Yeah. In India, doctors removed 526 teeth from a 7-year-old boy's mouth. The boy is recovering nicely. However, the tooth fairy declared bankruptcy.
That is from a joke book from the 80s. That's where he got that joke from.
So who's giving Eric Metaxas and his people hundreds of thousands of dollars, or at least who's spending that much money on a show like this?
And can some of that fall off a truck and into our pockets?
And the group is called, it's one we've talked about before. It's a group called Ziklag, Ziklag.
Are you sure we've talked about that before? Because yikes.
Here's the backstory. In the Bible, the town of Ziklag is where the character David lives for some time while he's being persecuted.
Okay.
It's basically his safe space, and it's a place from which he can plan his counterattacks.
No, but safe spaces are unchristian, I thought.
Last year, according to ProPublica and the website Documented, they put out a report basically saying the Christians behind Ziklag had assets of nearly $12 million, and they were using it to make sure Republicans are mobilizing their base before the election while trying to purge Democrats from the voter rolls in swing states.
Chill. Just like good Christians.
Yeah.
Just like Jesus wanted to do.
That's what this group is doing, and what the Guardian found out.
Purge the Democrats, he said.
What the Guardian found out is that Ziklag was also trying to produce this show, and they were sending out an email to donors saying, we want to get up to $500,000 to film episodes of this show so we can pitch it to, quote, digital distributors, networks, and TV ownership groups. Basically, what any people would do if you wanted to pitch your show. And this is what their email said. Spoiler alert, the secular elites who currently reign over late night TV are about to find out there's jokes on them.
Sorry, Stephen Colbert is the top talk show, and he's famously Catholic.
Yeah, that too.
Famously super duper Catholic.
Yep. To the point where the Pope invited him to come visit back in the day.
Wow.
They also promoted Metaxas as the host of this show, and they said of him, his comedic bent has gone largely unnoticed. Wait.
Yep.
His comedic bent has gone largely unnoticed until now, that is.
Oh, boy.
That was the company's pitch to donors.
Oh, my God.
I'll get back to him in a second, because I've watched this guy for years.
I'm so sorry. That was just the meanest thing you could ever say about somebody who pretends to be a comic.
Yes.
If somebody said that me.
We know his talent's gone largely unnoticed.
Like, what's the opposite of being undeniable? White dude? Oh, boy. Oh, my God. Because, like, the thing is, when you see a serious actor step into a comedic role, that's when you're like, yeah, you wouldn't realize they've got like these comedy chops.
Right. But you don't take a guy whose entire shtick is promoting right-wing conspiracy theories and go out to donors and say, you guys, you know what you don't understand about this guy? He's secretly hilarious.
Is there any
Do you think Rush Limbaugh is funny? Do you think Pat Robertson was secretly a joke teller? Like, with all those people, I mean, Rush Limbaugh was fashioned as a right-wing comedian. And what's his brand? Like, this is the way conservatives described him. He was so funny. It's like, well, give me an example of his jokes.
Used the F slur.
Yeah, that was his example of a joke. What's a right-wing joke? It's punching down to whatever minority they think can deal with it. Not deal with, like, they don't care. But, like, they just punch down and
whatever minority is sticking its head out above the crowd a little too much.
And in their email, Ziklag said, it's offering the opportunity to invest as part of the Media Mountain, which is their reference to the Seven Mountains Mandate, which is a Christian right philosophy that says, let's take over all 7 areas of public life.
And those are
religion, government, media, education, culture, entertainment, and business.
He read those.
Take that, 10 Commandments, people. So, I mean, what's amazing to me, okay, you're trying to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, you have millions in the bank.
And what are you spending this money on? Because it's not writers.
Not buying a clue. Like, how much money does it take to not notice that Metaxas is not talented? And they believe this kind of show would be an alternative for people who can't handle, like, the razor-sharp biting satire of Jimmy Fallon. Like, why do we need an alternative? If you don't like political humor, because, again, Colbert is a little more biting when it comes to attacking Republicans. Jimmy Kimmel, very much so. The humor's different, but it's there. Seth Meyers, really good at it. Jimmy Fallon actively avoids being political. And
it's almost impressive how he does it.
He gets his audience largely because they see him as an entertainer and not a guy who's trying to score political points. And I don't like him for that reason. Like, I don't watch his show. I don't watch the monologues on YouTube the next day, mostly because I just don't find that enjoyable as much as I do the other guys.
Do you know that I saw Jimmy Fallon live when I was 16 years old?
Aww.
Isn't that cute of me?
Cute.
Park West with my mom.
So, imagine thinking we need an alternative to what's available because, you know, all of it's anti-Republican. It's like, first of all, no, it's not. Jimmy Fallon is not. Bill Maher, if you want to pretend anything that he's political.
Are we calling him a common comedian at
That's
this
my point. Like, if anything, he's not a left-wing ally, so I don't know what you think of him, but more Republicans these days seem to like him. And again, you mentioned Gutfeld. That's on there too. So who is your audience for this?
Well,
I have no idea.
Well, and the people who, listen, with respect, the kind of people who vote Republican are not the people who are in the market for like biting satire.
Remember
what they are in the market for is fart jokes and like, look how fat that guy is.
Do you remember right before the election last year, one of the reasons Democrats like fingers crossed for a minute is because at a massive Nazi rally at Madison Square Garden, a conservative comedian gave one of the pre-Trump speeches at his rally and made a quote unquote joke that basically Puerto Rico is an island full of garbage. And you're like, you're doing that in New York City? And also what's the joke? The joke is, hey, those brown people suck, don't they, everybody?
Yeah, we under-resourced their society for so long that now they're impoverished. Suck my dick, Puerto Rico!
The thing is, that guy is one of the most successful conservative comedians out there. It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
But he's one of the more successful guys, but that's their example of conservative, like, humor. So anyway, when The Guardian reached out to Chris Himes, who is the guy who produced this particular show, here's what he said in defense of all of it. He said the show was not intended to be a right-wing late-night show.
Are you sure?
The aim, Himes said, was, quote, to create a broad throwback late-night program for the entire country, not just one side. These are not partisan or right-wing shows. Think Letterman or Dick Cavett in tone. Humor first, with no space for snark or clapter. Letterman, very much.
Wait, excuse me, David Letterman, graduate of Ball State University, was never snarky?
No place for snark.
Are you sure? Are you sure he wasn't snarky? Are you sure he wasn't snarky when he was stuffing Spider-Mans into phone booths and throwing watermelons off the fucking roof?
But also, if you listen to anything Letterman did in his show, too, besides the humorous, like, bits, even if you didn't find him funny, he did go after politicians
of course
repeatedly.
He did. Just because you don't remember something does not mean it didn't happen.
Right.
I feel like conservatives, that's like their favorite thing to do. Like, I don't remember him being political. It's like, well, you were 8, so maybe you weren't really, your antenna wasn't up.
Martin Luther King Jr. was not political.
I don't remember him being political. He would not
have liked affirmative action.
Oh, these fucking
Himes went on to
nerds.
say, sadly, much of late night over the past decade has shifted from being genuinely funny to becoming a vehicle for tribal signaling, even occasionally straying into messaging far beyond comedy.
Listen.
We believe the country deserves something better.
How many late night talk shows are white dudes in their 40s and 50s?
Oh, all of them. And they all know it and they make fun of themselves for it.
So I guess what I'm wondering is...
50s.
Like, what are we fucking doing here? I guess would be my question. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because
Eric Metaxas brings diversity. I just don't
understand how white dudes are everywhere and controlling everything, and y'all are still so fucking mad. Like, what are you still mad about? You do everything. You hold all of the power, and you're still like, meh.
When I was watching the show,
I'm mad.
When I was watching the show, not only is it Eric Metaxas, who is like the quintessential guy you just described, but also his sidekick is also that.
Oh, good.
And if you look at the staffers on stage that you could see, like in the shots, also pretty much all that.
Cool.
Anyway, Himes added, to be clear, a right-wing late-night show would be a terrible idea. What we are building is something more essential, a genuinely funny, unifying alternative. And the problem with that assessment is that the shows they made, which are available for anyone to watch,
are deeply bad.
They are not funny. And also, this idea that if we avoid politics, everyone will watch it. Why do you think people watch late night talk shows these days.
Yeah.
It's a way of getting informed about what happened without it being so damn boring and dry. And honestly, the one good thing you will get from The Daily Show or Seth Meyers or whatever is that they're not afraid to just call out bullshit in a way that straight news reporters like seem to be averse to. Like it's, oh, no, it's Republicans who are the problem, and here's why. Here's the clips. Roll them being hypocrites. Here's the footage. We have it. Like a show that allows right-wing guests to talk about their lives and like humanize themselves. Maybe that could find an audience.
Trump was on Jimmy Fallon's show.
He was.
What the actual fuck are these people
Saturday
talking
Night
about?
Live. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Remember,
fucking Lorne Michaels up against the wall, bud.
Elon Musk hosted this show.
Oh, Christ on a fucking crutch. Lorne Michaels, you must retire.
Shane Gillis has hosted twice.
Who's Shane Gillis?
He's a guy who was hired to be on the show. Then they found his old tweets being racist, and they're like, you can't be on the show now. And then they brought him back to host twice. And also his monologues where he's doing Eric Metaxas type, but political conspiracy jokes.
Yeah.
Like you could just hear the audience like,
boy, oh boy. That silence is so loud.
And if you want to hear it, just watch these episodes of this Eric Metaxas show. But like,
I think one of the quotes was visible, like audibly groaned.
Yeah,
from the audience.
That was at the Ken doll prostate joke. Yes. What's the point?
It isn't a joke.
What's the point of watching any of these late night comedy shows if they don't tackle current events or at least ask questions to their guests about their relevance? I get that you're a pilot show. You're not going to get A-list celebrities. But if you're bringing someone on, it would at least make sense like, oh, hey, you have some insight into what's happening, so I want to talk to you about it. Or you're someone who might be relevant today for some reason.
Right.
There was none of that even attempted on this show.
I mean, I kind of disagree. Like, if it's your pilot episode and you're putting $500,000 into it, you better get a big fucking name.
You're telling me you can't find any conservative
a single person who's going to come on this for
Don't
you?
worry, they got Carrot Top and Danny Bonaducci. Actually, Carrot Top, they didn't even get as a guest on the show. They had to go to Vegas to film a segment with him. But Danny Bonaducci was one of their guests.
I'm so sorry. That just broke. I haven't heard the name Danny Bonaducci since my VH1 days of the 90s.
And that is the point. Like, why? I mean, whatever his deal is, I don't even know.
What is Danny Bonaducci doing?
Why are we talking to him today?
Why are we only interviewing redheaded dudes? What are we doing?
It's also this idea that the problem with current late night hosts is that they're too one-sided and it's unfair. Like, well, guess what? Republicans are in power and they're doing a lot of damage, and there's a lot of reasons for that: cruelty, ignorance, extremism. They deserve to be called out on it.
Yeah.
These people made fun of Democrats when Democrats were in charge too, but also we're talking about different things, different scales.
Democrats don't pull the same bullshit Republicans do, so it's sort of hard to make the same kinds of jokes.
And the underlying principle of what that producer said is that, you know, we're trying to make a apolitical show. We're in the political center here. But to say that at this point in our history is to say you don't understand the stakes.
No.
You deserve to be ignored.
Or what politics are anymore.
Yeah.
I have a very, very clear memory of Danny Bonaducci being interviewed that he got really drunk or high or whatever one night, woke up the next morning and had married somebody in Vegas.
Oh, congrats.
And she said, we got married last night and I'm Catholic, so I don't believe in divorce. And so they stayed married. And
congrats. Love story.
They're not still together. It is just a story I think about a lot of what does Christianity mean to you? I'm Catholic, so I can't get divorced. But what I can do is marry a child star whom I met last night when we were both shit-faced in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Jesus
would
love that.
If he talked about that story, maybe we'd be getting somewhere. But he didn't.
Actually, a pretty compelling story to talk about.
By the way, they make this insistence. We're doing an apolitical show that appeals to everyone, right?
What does that mean?
Well, guess what? I watched some of these episodes before I came here.
Uh-huh.
I watched some of the monologues.
Why?
Because I hate myself. And one of the quote-unquote jokes was, at the time, Biden had hinted, maybe I will not run for re-election. He had not dropped out yet. That was last summer.
Right.
But Metaxas was setting up a joke. It wasn't a joke, but he set up a joke about Biden possibly dropping out of the presidential re-election race. And here's how he said it. Yesterday, President President Biden shocked the nation when he said he might not run for a second term. And when he corrected himself and said, President, big air quotes when he said it.
Why?
Because Eric Metaxas is an election denier who doesn't think Biden was legitimately elected.
Apolitical.
So yeah, this is these people's idea of an apolitical show.
What?
That didn't come up in the Guardian article. That's just like, wait a minute, you think he's not going to bring up his politics?
Wow, apolitical. Boy, these people have absolutely lost the plot.
Yeah. By the way, you asked earlier, who the hell is Eric Metaxas?
Who the hell is Eric Metaxas?
Yeah. For years, this guy has been a right-wing conspiracy theorist. He once wrote a book about a guy who challenged the Nazis that got good reviews and made it seem like he was a Christian intellectual. And then everything he's done since then shows that, nope.
Not so much.
That was not the case at all. He has... Joe Biden once said something stupid in a debate where he basically said, if you don't vote for Democrats, you're not really black.
Oof.
Yeah. Oof. Dumb thing to say. Well, plenty of Democrats criticize that for good reason, too. Eric Metaxas responded to it by making probably one of the most racist tweets I've ever seen, and I'm not going to read it because this entire show will be taken off. It's just... I'm showing it to Jess now.
Oh, yikes.
It's bad.
The word shizzle appears, and that's not the worst part of it. It's so deeply, fundamentally, invariably racist. I kind of can't believe what I just read.
Yep. That was during Black Lives Matter, George Floyd in the aftermath. Also, by the way, there's the timeline for you. Eric Metaxas once sucker punched a guy on a bike who was a protester outside of D.C., and it was caught on video.
I remember that.
He is literally, I've seen articles describing after Trump got elected, have white evangelicals lost their damn minds? And that was an article all about Eric Metaxas. He's the poster boy for evangelicals losing their mind. And he believes so many right-wing conspiracy theories, which is what he does today on a regular basis on his own podcast or whatever. It's whatever right-wing theories you want to throw at him. It's hard to keep track of like where he is right now because just whatever dumb thing you think crazy people believe, that's what he's putting on his talk show.
Wow.
So that's my way of saying Ziklag, which has millions of dollars at its disposal. They think the problem with late night talk shows is not enough Eric Metaxas and not enough jokes that appeal to nobody.
I'm sorry, the names Ziklag and Metaxas appearing in the same story is just making my brain hurt a lot. Like, what chunky words to say.
Yeah.
Wow. He was the bike punch guy.
Yeah, the project didn't fail because Metaxas is bad at his job. It failed because there's just no reason to watch this show. There's no heart or soul into it. There's as much heart and soul as there is laughter. Like, there's no passion into this. They're just going through the motions, and literally no one is interested in seeing that. If you watch listen, I watch all these shows because in the morning when I'm doing, like, writing articles or collecting news stories or whatever, there's a lot of downtime as I'm sifting through a lot of information. I'm watching all those monologues from the night before because that's what's playing on YouTube while I'm going through the news.
Oh, interesting.
I love late night talk shows, certain ones. Like Seth Meyers, great. Colbert, mostly great. Jimmy Kimmel has gotten much better.
Yeah.
Fallon, I skip. Like, this is how it goes. Daily Show has gotten so much better. And John Oliver is the king of all of them. It's so good. I love this stuff. But, like, you watch them because you might trust where they're coming from, or you get to know how their stuff is put together and who their staffs are. Seth Meyers highlights his writers all the time.
Oh, good.
It's like, I know these people. I know who's making this stuff now, and I want to see where it's coming from. When you watch a show like this, where I know it's a pilot, it's not meant to be good. That's fine. You can cut it some slack for not being like, they're trying it out.
Yeah.
But there's literally no reason for this show to be there. And you could tell that, just because you throw some, like you said, 80s jokes in a monologue that have no relevance to anything, and just because you interview people who have no relevance, and just because it looks like a talk show, doesn't mean it's any good at it. You could do a new one now. They have tried with other hosts and everything, and they fail because they are missing that element of like, well, why is anyone watching this?
I mean, I think before you said it before, it's all punching down. And that's all Republicans know how to do is punch down, complain about minorities who are secret or are either lazy people who are taking up welfare or stealing all of our jobs. Unclear. Stay tuned for that. But they have nothing interesting to say because they own the culture. Like they have their little sticky fingers in every single thing that's happening.
Their idea of a joke is Haitian immigrants are eating dogs.
Oh, Christ on a crutch. But boy, like, I don't know, man.
What's the joke anymore?
And truly, if you are some of these guys, you're not gonna be able to make any kind of interesting commentary because you guys are all going to the same parties afterward. And you're not going to talk shit on Trump. You're not going to talk shit.
You don't live in a world where other people unlike you exist. When we talk about a Christian bubble, it's very much true because if you're not exposed, this is one, like, I have criticisms of homeschooling in general, but one of them is if you do it badly, it's very easy to shelter your kids in a way they're never exposed to anybody else. That's one of the benefits of a public school.
Yeah.
But that's the problem with a lot of these conservatives is that they are in a bubble. They don't know what life is like outside of the bubble.
And they don't care to find out.
And they don't care to find out. So you're not going to get book reviews from them.
Right.
They're not interviewing authors with something interesting to say.
They're not challenging you or themselves.
Right.
Oh boy, what a mess.
All right, let's talk about something totally different, possibly more serious, though again, jury's out on how serious we should be taking this, but okay.
Okay.
So a couple of weeks ago, when the whole political world was focused on assaults on free speech that involved Jimmy Kimmel, the impending shutdown, Donald Trump signed a memo that was meant to combat domestic terrorism and organized political violence in the wake of the murder of Charlie Kirk.
Okay.
So he signed this memo, and it's called, the official name of it is National Security Presidential Memorandum 7, NSPM 7.
Okay.
Fancy name, whatever. But basically, it went under the radar at the time because
we were busy.
Yeah, we're busy. No one. There's other things to pay attention to, and he signs a lot of shit that is mostly symbolic.
I think he just likes to get high off the permanent marker.
Yeah, and he likes his photo ops where he gets to sign his name big on the document. He has to have his aides explain to him, "Here's what you're actually signing," because he's never read it. But the content of that memo is disturbing in this case because what it does is it calls on the National Joint Terrorism Task Force, which operates under the FBI, to go after particular threats to our nation. Which threats? Any critic of conservatism, basically. And here's what it says, literally from the memo. There are common recurrent motivations uniting this pattern of violent and terroristic activities under the umbrella of self-described anti-fascism.
Jesus Christ.
Common threads animating this violent conduct include anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, and anti-Christianity. Support for the overthrow of the United States government. Extremism on migration, race, and gender. And hostility toward those who hold traditional American views on family, religion, and morality.
Oh my God.
Let's run through some of those.
We're not going to survive this.
So basically, the government says we got to be on the lookout for anyone who criticizes America, which is
me.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Calls out wealth inequality because that means you hate capitalism.
All Trump does is criticize America. He says how weak we are and terrible we are. And
our military sucks because of the beardos. That's what Hegseth said.
Beardos and the fucking... Oh my God, that's so
He actually said fatties. No fatties?
He did not. He did not.
He
actually
definitely said overweight troops. We got to get rid of them.
This is, once again, really shades of Hitler being obsessed with Aryan-looking motherfuckers when he himself was a short, dark gentleman.
Yes.
So,
but if you criticize America, if you call out wealth inequality, because anti-capitalism, right?
Oh yeah,
and if you're anti-Christianity, which are we?
Legally, probably.
I mean, I would argue it's not anti-Christianity. I have very little problem with progressive Christians other than, okay, I think you're wrong about the religion thing.
Yeah.
Is that anti?
It's okay to be wrong about things.
Right. Everyone's wrong about things.
Not me, but a lot of the people.
Other people are wrong about a lot of things.
I've heard.
Yeah, but if you accept transgender identities, that's a problem now. That's extreme.
So extreme.
And if you have any criticism or what they call hostility toward bigots who say the only good type of family are like single income households.
LOL.
With stay-at-home trad wives who homeschool their like 2.5 children. Like, if you dare to criticize any of that, why are you hostile toward traditional American views?
I would love to be a single income household. I do not see that coming. If we had children, it would be to put them to work like we're a 1900s immigrant family working on the farms. Like you got to keep having kids because you need somebody to plow them fields.
Put on that diaper and get in the field.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's literally a government attack on anyone who values comprehensive education, that's not afraid to point out that America's screwed up a lot, that doesn't automatically treat religion as a virtue, that understands diversity is actually a net positive for people.
I mean, really, I think what it comes down to, like maybe the sort of thing that is that they think that any criticism of the country is necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
Which is...
America first means you can't say anything mean about America.
American exceptionalism, all that stuff. And it's just like... It's not even...
Didn't he went after the Smithsonian for having too much about slavery. Take down those exhibits.
Okay, cool. Neat. Are you fucking kidding me?
The national parks had to remove signs that suggested this land came from this place and these tribes.
These people are so fucking precious about their masculinity. I was just listening to This Day in Esoteric Political History, and they were talking about the Hummer coming onto the American market in 2001. And just the panic masculinity that was happening around that. Like, apparently there was a commercial of like, there was one dude who was grocery shopping for like vegetables and tofu, and another dude was just like loading his cart up with red meat. And the first dude looks at the second dude and runs out and gets a Hummer. And it's like, regain your masculinity. Nice. And it's just like this fucking insane panic.
A costly little hobby there.
No kidding. And like apparently people had to like redo their garages because their stupid big cars didn't fit in their stupid garages. And I just, if America is the greatest country of all time, if masculinity is the strongest thing that ever existed, we wouldn't be trying so hard to protect it with all of our might. If you're if you are a man, quote unquote man's man, then like that should be self-evident, and I shouldn't need to see what kind of car you drive.
If you've read anything about Germany after World War II, it's very much, we can't forget what happened. We have to address it. We have to acknowledge we were the baddies, and we have to move forward from that spot.
Yeah.
But
and
America,
I don't see America ever doing anything like that.
So maybe you're thinking, and by the way, we talked about the anti-Christianity bit. Does that involve criticism of religion? Is that us? Now, maybe you think all of this is bluster because criticism is not illegal yet, and the government already can go after legitimate threats as they see fit. But the memo explains what the Trump administration wants law enforcement to do about this, and this is where it got scary. The U.S. requires a national strategy to investigate and disrupt networks, entities, and organizations that foment political violence so that law enforcement can intervene in criminal conspiracies before they result in violent political acts. Through this comprehensive strategy, law enforcement will disband and uproot networks, entities, and organizations that promote organized violence, violent intimidation, conspiracies against rights, and other efforts to disrupt the functioning of a democratic society.
What was something against rights?
Conspiracies against rights. You're like going after what our Constitution says.
Okay, not like right people.
The way this is worded, conservatives could argue that atheist organizations that routinely push for church-state separation
or shows
criticize religion and refute the false beliefs of Christian nationalists, are they disrupting the functioning of a democratic society?
You know what's funny is when I started...
And do they need to be shut down? And could the IRS under Trump say, we're revoking your tax-exempt statuses because this memo gives law enforcement permission to disband those groups even before they've done anything that violates any sort of law, much less presents a threat. So this is not about seeking justice after some group has done something wron.
No.
It's about going after them on the assumption that they will do something wrong. You're right. This is very much a thought crime. There's a reporter, Ken Klippenstein, who brought this to people's attention. And he pointed out this is not symbolic like a lot of the executive orders Trump has signed. This is very different. He says an executive order
what's the difference?
Publicly lays out the course of day-to-day federal government operations, whereas a national security directive like this is a sweeping policy decree for the defense, foreign policy, intelligence, and law enforcement apparatus. He also said it directs this memo, directs the Department of Justice to focus the FBI's approximately 200 joint terrorism task forces to the new mission. And then he writes, I don't want to sound hyperbolic, but the plain truth is that NSPM 7 is a declaration of war on anyone who does not support the Trump administration or its agenda. Yes, it repeats the word violent over and over to purport only to go after citizens who are moved to take up arms, but it also directs monitoring and intelligence collection to map and target the new, quote, evildoers.
I mean, truly, this is the Red Scare all over again. This is J. Edgar Hoover all over again. Like, it blows my mind how, like, I know the term is like history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. I mean, we are getting a little, like, we're getting into plagiarism territory for the 20th century. Like, we've done, like, how do people not just, like, take a peek in the rearview mirror and be like, oh, 100 years ago, you could have subbed Irish people for Mexicans and it would be the same bullshit. And now self-same Irish people are trying to, like, slam Mexican. Like, listen, I am German, I'm Italian, and I'm Irish. All three of those groups have been targeted as new immigrants and the bad guys at some point in American history. How can people, like, it's different because I can identify them. Like, it's different because I can look at you and you look brown and I know what brown looks like. Right. Like, how do these people not realize they're falling for the same panicky garbage? Like, one of my favorite things in the entire world is, like, the kids these days argument, and it's just like, you can go back to Aristotle and they were saying kids these days. Like, there is not a new idea left on this fucking earth.
I've seen a lot of liberals talk about how we're on the road to fascism.
No, we are in fascism central.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to Republicans that this sort of memo would be unacceptable if a Democrat issued a similar memo. Hypocrisy does not shame them. They will look the other way when conservatives commit actual crimes while promoting memos like this one that go after liberals for committing fake crimes or none at all.
This is the exact same thing of, like, we have to protect women. Women are so dainty and special and precious and tiny. We have to protect them. And women are like, oh, I'm in danger. And the cops are like, go fuck yourself. What do you want me to do about it, bitch?
What were you wearing?
Like, it's just so... And I listen to so much true crime. And so you just hear time and time again of, like, a woman walking into a police station. Literally a story I just heard. A woman walks into a police station. She was native in, I want to say Canada, but it might be probably Pacific Northwest. Like, walked into a police station, said, I was just raped violently. This is the guy's name. This is his license number. I have not showered yet. Please do a rape kit on me. And they not only dismissed her, they made her take a lie detector test and then decided she failed. And then that guy went on to kill, I think, 8 other women. So anyway, it's just that these people have lost the fucking plot. And, like, I'm sick of it being paraded as patriotism or helping women or whatever. It is about control, and it's about getting only people who look exactly like them to be in control. And everybody does exactly. It's just... What are we going to do?
So, will they use this memo to go after peaceful protesters on the claim that they're about to do some violence? Will they go after groups like the Freedom from Religion Foundation for sending warning letters to school that they're violating the Establishment Clause by saying you're violating the Constitution, you're misinterpreting it, and causing fear? Will they go after authors who write about the problems with conservative Christian culture? And more importantly, will they revoke the nonprofit status of left-wing groups, which makes it impossible for them to collect the donations that allowed them to function?
Yeah.
So since he issued that memo, thousands of nonprofits have signed on to an open letter condemning what he's doing here. It opens like this. We won't mince words. No president, Democrat or Republican, should have the power to punish nonprofit organizations he disagrees with. That is not about protecting Americans or defending the public interest. It is about using unchecked power to silence opposition and voices he disagrees with. That is un-American and flies in the face of the Constitution, including the First Amendment bar on targeting organizations for their advocacy. So that open letter, I think the ACLU has already done this, but a lot of the bigger legal organizations have already said if anyone falls victim to the Trump administration for doing their daily routines, we will cover your legal stuff. So that's great. It's hard to know how seriously the Trump administration will use this directive to do his bidding until we see who he's targeting, why he's targeting them. It's possible those targets will challenge this in court, but that's part of the problem because not every nonprofit has the resources to fight everything in court. And even the ones that do would have to redirect the important work they're doing to fight this, which is kind of the point.
And the right has demonstrated it has bottomless pockets for shit like this because turns out when you're really, 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 really rich, you don't give a shit about literally anybody besides yourself and your money.
Yeah.
Cool. Really neat, good country that we're living in. Pretty happy about things.
Let's move to a different story.
Oh, boy.
This is an update. I don't know if this is a good or bad update, but it is an update. It's about Robert Morris, who is a megachurch pastor we've talked about. Close enough. He's a megachurch pastor. We've talked about him before. He basically used his reputation to help Trump get elected, and he's in trouble.
But
we've talked about him before. Let me catch you up because we have talked about him. When Trump was trying to convince conservative Christians to support him in 2015 and 16, one of the things he did is he released a list of his evangelical executive advisory board, mostly white, mostly male Christians, James Dobson, Jerry Falwell Jr., Ralph Reed. Those were all on the list. Robert Morris.
Mount Rushmore of D-bags.
Oh, yeah. Robert Morris, who is the senior pastor of Gateway Church in Dallas, was also on that list. And this is a guy who has said, I mean, if you want to talk about low-key dumb stuff he said, he claimed his prayers could cure infertility. He said it's scientifically impossible to be an atheist.
Oh, so far, I definitely can have kids, and I definitely do believe in God. Those two things are false. But according to this guy, I'm wrong? Is he going to pray over
He could
my
if you
IUD?
want. He could if you want. He also says trans people are a threat to children. Keep that one in the back of your head for a second. Back to that in a moment.
Boy, every accusation is a confession.
Anyway, in 2019, Trump was in the White House, and there were pictures of like Robert Morris. Everyone's putting their hands on Trump and praying over him.
I love those.
Robert Morris is one of the dudes in the picture, somewhere in there. But in any case, that's who this guy was. Now, when we talked about him, it was for a different reason, which is a couple years ago, a website called the Wartburg Watch, basically a Christian watchdog website, they broke a story about how Robert Morris, in 1981, when he was just a traveling evangelist going around spreading the gospel, he visited Tulsa, Oklahoma. He met a family. They had an 11-year-old daughter named Cindy Clemishire.
Oh, boy.
And his family stayed with her family a lot. They all became very close to the point where they're spending like holidays together. And according to the website, on Christmas Day in 1982, he allegedly invited Cindy to come to his bedroom. You may want to forward like a minute here, but he invited Cindy to come to his bedroom. He proceeded to touch her. And then he told her, quote, according to Cindy, never tell anyone about this because it will ruin everything.
Oh, my fucking...
And she didn't know any better. She was 11 at the time. Part of the reason he's able to get away with this and the way he was even able to get alone time with her is that he told his wife he was counseling the girl. And this continued through 1987, over 5 years.
No, Hermit,
No. So at one point, Cindy, growing up, she tells a friend what happened. News comes back to her father. Her father, good for him, demands that Morris get out of the ministry.
Good.
What else are you going to do at this point, right? Like, he can't do much more. I don't know what he thought the options were.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
I guess going to the cops, not really a consideration.
That's weird because they're usually really good about stuff like that.
But he said, get out of the ministry. And Morris stepped down for 2 years. And when he finally returned to preaching after 2 years, he founded the church that became Gateway Church in Dallas, where he built his ministry.
So he has been a pedophile and a groomer from the jump.
Yes. Now, when Cindy got much older, she realized kind of all the stuff that had happened to her and how inappropriate and criminal it was. And in 2005, she got an attorney to file a civil lawsuit. Robert Morris's attorney said, first of all, excuse me, this was your fault because you were being, quote, flirtatious. She was 11, 12, maybe.
Listen, I understand that defense attorneys have a job, but Jesus fucking Christ, accusing a 11-year-old child, a baby, of seducing a grown-ass man. And also, even if she was, which what the fuck does that mean?
Right.
It's still his responsibility to not go ahead and put his fingers inside of a child.
Yes.
That, I think, should still be his responsibility.
So in 2005, she says, whatever her calculation is here, she says, give me $50,000 if you want me to revoke this lawsuit. They said, we'll give you $25,000, but you got to sign an NDA. She said, I will not.
Good, Cindy.
And that's when she went to this website with her story. Now, if that story was true, first of all, appalling that the attorney blamed the child.
That is
for what he did. But, and by the way, interestingly enough, side note, in one of Morris's books, he writes about how he stepped down from ministry in his mid-20s, which is around the time when Cindy's father said, get the hell out.
Yeah.
But the book says, God told me to take time away from the pulpit to deal with my pride. That's how he describes the 2-year hiatus. So after this accusation came out, a reporter for the Christian Post asked Robert Morris for comment about the allegations, and this is how he responded to the Christian Post. When I was in my early 20s, I was involved in inappropriate sexual behavior with a young lady in a home where I was staying.
A child.
It was kissing and petting and not intercourse.
Stop saying petting, conservatives. I am fucking begging you. Do not say petting. It is... my fucking Christ. These fucking people. You molested a child. You raped a little girl.
It was kissing and petting and not intercourse, but it was wrong. This behavior happened
Does he clock how old she is? Because she isn't 17.
This behavior happened on several occasions over the next few years.
It happened or I did it. It happened.
This behavior happened.
This just happened.
I fell into it.
I was watching the Hillside Strangler documentary, and when the one dude is describing his crimes, it's like she would be undressed and she would be sent out, and then she would be strangled. And it's like, no, you strangled her. Right. It's not like
she committed a strangle.
The passive voice of it all is so slippery.
We've seen that with a lot of war stuff, like Palestinians die from a bomb. It's like, oh, really? Did it just magically go off?
Out of one of those magic bombs that I hear so much about?
Morris went on to say, in March of 1987, this situation was brought to light, and it was confessed and repented of. I submitted myself to the elders of his church at the time and the young lady's father. They asked me...
Sorry, somebody's missing? Somebody pretty fucking important is missing out of that group of people?
Let me be clear. He spoke to the men, the people who mattered. They asked me to step out of ministry and receive counseling and freedom ministry, which I did. Since that time, I have walked in purity and accountability in this area.
I'm sure those counseling sessions were really above board.
By the way, he also said he and his wife met with the survivor and her family in 1989. Quote, I asked their forgiveness and they graciously forgave me.
In 1989, you said?
Yes.
So she was 20?
Is that what the math says? Probably
91. She was 11.
Like that. Yeah. Now he said she was a young lady. She was 12.
81 rather.
He said it was inappropriate.
It was illegal.
No, it was illegal.
And a crime.
It wasn't just quote kissing and petting. According to Cindy, Morris quote touched every part of my body and inserted his fingers into me. And Cindy responded to the Christian Post excuse me, he said, quote, "My father never, ever gave his blessing on Robert returning to ministry. My father told him he's lucky he didn't kill him."
I mean, I don't advocate violence, but yeah, he was lucky he didn't kill him.
So Gateway Church also responded. The church elders responded, and
he's the head of this.
He's the head of
the founder and creator.
But, he surrounds himself with good white Christian men. And they said, Pastor Robert has been open and forthright about a moral failing he had over 35 years ago when he was in his 20s and prior to him starting Gateway Church. He has shared publicly from the pulpit the proper biblical steps he took in his lengthy restoration process, ... Since the resolution of this 35-year-old matter, there have been no other moral failures, ... The matter has been properly disclosed to church leadership.
What about the police? Has it been disclosed to the police?
It wasn't a moral failure. It was criminal sexual assault. We'll get to the police in a second.
On a minor?
He did not share from the pulpit.
On a minor under the age of 13, which I think is an additional thing.
He did not share publicly from the pulpit why he needed any kind of restoration.
No, he just had to step down.
And
he hit a stumbling block
the fact
was in the shape of a little girl's vagina.
The fact that it happened 35 years ago, who the hell cares? Because it wasn't made public until the survivor told her side of the story.
Also,
that's the Catholic Church has learned the hard way. People are not going to forgive you for clergy abuse that occurred decades ago, even if those people are dead now. So, and no one should simply accept that Morris has had no other moral failures, because literally the one example we have of not that is a story that he covered up. So, also, if church leadership knew about what he did, what does it say about them that the congregation was never told he's a child sex predator?
It says that they're absolutely amoral, capitalistic, power-hungry monsters.
So when the story broke, and the survivor published her story on the Wartburg Watch, Morris was still the senior pastor of Gateway. He wasn't facing any kind of punishment, much less criminal charges.
Recently, or is there a new development? When did it break?
A couple of years ago.
Oh, okay.
But after the story began spreading, after that article, he resigned. And the church elders said, we're going to conduct a, quote, review of past abuse. And they even hired an outside law firm to do it. They weren't going to do it themselves.
I've heard this story
before.
And
they said, we didn't know how old she was or how long it was going on. That's on us. Sorry, we forgot to ask any follow-up questions. That's on me. Right. So when the investigation was completed in November of, I think, 2023, it led to the removal of a bunch of elders who basically, they knew the details and they didn't tell people about it. So they got rid of them too. So that's something.
Yeah.
Okay. The fear is...
Who's in charge at this point? Is it like a board of directors kind of deal?
Yes.
I see.
So despite removing some of those board members, the elders, and Robert Morris, the fear is this just going to blow over? And like Morris will take his sabbatical and then he'll come back as I spent 2 years away from the pulpit and don't worry, I prayed about it. I'm good now.
Well, I mean, we have the internet now, and it's got a pretty long memory.
So the irony is he spent years preaching about sexual ethics and sin and consequences.
He's worried about transgender people harming children.
Thank you for remembering that.
Oh, do you think I will stop remembering that these people who are obviously out there molesting children are like, trans people definitely are the problem here?
In case you were wondering, and I know you are, Robert Morris is not a drag queen.
What?
I know.
But his eyebrows are on fleek.
So Robert Morris built his whole church empire in Texas, but where did the abuse occur?
Arizona.
Oklahoma, Tulsa.
Oh.
And who's the Attorney General of Oklahoma? Gentner Drummond, the guy who's like, I want to weed out corruption.
Oh.
So he got together a multi-county grand jury, and they indicted Morris on 5 counts. They heard 2 days of testimony. And this is what Drummond said at the end of that process. There can be no tolerance for those who sexually prey on children. This case is all the more despicable because the alleged perpetrator was a pastor who exploited his position. Wow. The victim in this case has waited far too many years for justice to be done. The statute of limitations is not applicable in this case because Morris was not a resident or inhabitant of Oklahoma at any time. And he basically said... He was responding to people who said maybe it's expired, so you can't even file anything. He's like, nope, I'm the law.
I did my research.
We can go after this guy. And we talked about this before. And again, you could forward about a minute if you need to. The indictments that they charged this guy with, there were 5 of them. Number 1, Christmas Day 1982, he touched the, quote, breasts and vaginal area of the 12-year-old. Number 2, December 27th, 2 days later, 1982, he removed the girl's clothes and looked at her breasts and vaginal area in a lewd or lascivious manner. Then, number 3, sometime between January 15th and January 24th of 1983, he touched those areas in a lewd or lascivious manner. Then, sometime in the next 2 years, he touched them again while parked in a car. And sometime in those following 2 years, he touched her, quote, body and private parts in a lewd or lascivious manner by removing her clothes. This is reading straight from the thing. Removing her clothing and rubbing his body, including his penis, covered by his clothing against her body, including her leg, while parked in a car.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. So grand jury indicted him on all 5 charges. Then it was up to the AG to actually pursue criminal charges then. What did Cindy say? She's now 55 and a grandmother. What did she say after the grand jury indicted him? Quote, after almost 43 years, the law has finally caught up with Robert Morris for the horrific crimes he committed against me as a child. Now it's time for the legal system to hold him accountable. So charges were officially filed. He had to go up in front of a judge. Each felony charge could get you 20 years in prison. Could have faced 100 years behind bars.
And how old is this gentleman?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I think 70s, somewhere in there. But it's possible he could get nothing.
Yeah.
Plenty of white evangelical leaders have escaped consequences for anything.
I can't think of the last time I've heard criminal charges being filed against.
And Morris can afford the kind of lawyers who would argue that, look, this man is a devout man who made a mistake. He should not suffer more.
He tripped in his fingers, went inside the vagina of a child.
That's how it works. So instead of letting the judge seal his fate now, this is the news. This is why we're talking about this. Okay. Over the past week, Morris decided to just plead guilty.
Wow.
Instead of going through the whole motion.
Not even no contest.
Nope. I plead guilty.
Throw himself on the mercy of the court.
He received a 10-year sentence, but it'll result in him spending a total of 6 months in a county jail, followed by a very long probationary period. He will also have to register as a sex offender. He will also have to pay Cindy Clemishire $270,000 in restitution.
Ooh, that $50K isn't looking so bad now,
know,
hey?
Right? But basically, the bottom line is 6 months in jail plus other consequences. And
that's
again, it feels like nothing given the seriousness of his crime.
But she doesn't have to go through a trial. She doesn't have to sit in front of a jury and recount the most horrifying thing that could happen to a person. She's not going to have to go back for like parole hearings. Like
I am not defending the 6 months. I don't really have any thoughts on whether that's good or bad. But I will say, I think based on everything I've seen, I would not compare it. It's not 6 months compared to the possibility of 100 years.
It's 6 months compared to no consequences.
It's 6 months
whatsoever.
compared to nothing.
Yep.
Guys like Morris tend to get nothing. So the fact that he'll spend any time behind bars feels significant.
I mean, it's cold comfort, but it's something.
And I would also say Cindy Clemishire, she issued a statement on paper to be read in court, already showing courage throughout all of this. But this is they read it out loud before in front of Morris before he was taken into custody.
Tell me he cried.
And I can't tell if she said it or a judge read what she had submitted on her behalf. But what the letter said is that his abuse, quote, rippled into every part of her life, straining relationships, damaging her marriages, and affecting the way she raised her children. She said she prayed that God helped him to understand the depth of the pain he inflicted. Morris's eyes were fixed on the table in front of him as she read these remarks, maybe over Zoom, I'm not sure. Let me be clear, she said. There is no such thing as consent from a 12-year-old child. We were never in an inappropriate relationship. I was not a young lady, but a child. You committed a crime against me.
Yeah.
Today marks a new beginning for me, my family, and my friends who have been by my side throughout this horrendous journey. Robert, I want you to see me clearly. I am no longer the silenced little girl you abused. I know.
Heaven, are you getting
I'm emotional. You can, by the way, we'll have a link to this.
Thank God we have this on video because nobody would have believed this.
I'll have a link to this in the show notes, but you can see the full impact statement in the notes and you can read the whole thing. But I mean, she seems satisfied by something happening to this guy. By the way, separate side note.
Because I'm sure she
did not expect
nothing was going to happen ever.
She is currently, Robert Morris is currently pursuing a lawsuit against Gateway Church because he's like, you didn't give me all the retirement millions I deserved. Jesus. I don't know what happens to that lawsuit now. But
well, I mean, if they owe it to him, I bet it's in his contract. Like, right? I bet he has some airtight bullshit in there.
I'm sure. So anyway, from now on, even if this guy won't be in jail after 6 months, he is still going to be a registered sex offender.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that's a warning to other people that your victims are finding their voices. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it does seem like more and more of these old cases are being, thought of seriously and taken seriously and pursued. And I think that's pretty good.
I got one last story for you, only because it's timely.
Christ.
I know, it's only been 7 hours. This one is timely, so I just wanted to bring this up. This is a story about the Kingdom of God Global Church. And they were in the news, and you haven't heard of the church, but they were in the news this week for disturbing reasons.
Kingdom of God, isn't that Jehovah's Witnesses?
Kingdom...
who cares?
Why are you distracting me?
I don't know.
Worship halls, kingdom halls. That's what we're thinking about. That's where Jehovah's Witnesses meet.
Got it. Thank you, everybody.
But this is not that.
Okay.
So the allegations first came to light this past August, a couple of months ago. Basically, the people who are running the Kingdom of God Global Church, the main guy is David Taylor, and apparently he had an assistant, Michelle Brannon. They were arrested after a federal grand jury indicted them for their supposed roles in a forced labor and money laundering conspiracy.
Ooh, this is the thing churches like almost as much as molesting children is
taking
forced
everyone's
labor.
money. And the indictment from August, the indictment found that this ministry, it was formerly called Joshua Media Ministries International, but then they changed the name.
Why? It rolled off the tongue.
They ran a number of call centers to solicit money. Taylor was the self-described apostle behind the operations. Brannon was his executive director, but it's not the call centers that were the issue, because you can always set up a call center, randomly call people and say, give us money for our Christian ministry.
Sometimes they do.
But according to the indictment, the people who worked the phones also had double duty as Taylor's personal servants, and they were called, quote, armor bearers. They were armor bearers. Here's what the indictment said. Armor bearers were Taylor's personal servants who fulfilled Taylor's demands around the clock. Taylor and Brannon controlled every aspect of the daily living of their victims.
What the
Victims slept in the call center facility or in a ministry house, and Taylor and Brannon did not permit them to leave without permission. Taylor demanded that his armor bearers transport women from ministry houses, airports, and other locations to Taylor's location, and ensured the women transported to Taylor took Plan B emergency contraceptives.
Oh.
So this is like the Christian version of Epstein's Island, including a version of Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah.
It's unfair to call them workers, really, because it's not like they got paid.
No. Okay. I need to take 2 steps back. So this is it's not a ministry that's like a lot of different churches. It's just the one church.
We have our one church ministry. They did expand. They had a lot of call centers eventually.
Sure. And they were just collecting money just for the ministry?
For whatever they said the ministry does. Mm-hmm.
And so how did he... Okay. And is it young people or is it just disenfranchised
I think they're
people?
Adults. I don't think it's minors. That's
not children,
the issue necessarily.
But like 20-somethings.
Actually, I'll get back to that. But they're people they've convinced. You want to be faithful to God, right? Come work with us. We will help you work with a ministry.
This is classic cult behavior, is to A, work people and not give them money, and B, work people down to the ground so they can't resist you.
Not only do they have to work the phones, Taylor set financial goals for them to reach every day. And if they didn't hit those marks, according to the document, they were punished with, quote,
oh God,
public humiliation, additional work, food and shelter restrictions, psychological abuse, forced repentance, sleep deprivation, physical assaults, and threats of divine judgment in the form of sickness, accidents, and eternal damnation.
This is a cult.
Yeah. There is a text message that like the prosecutors had between...
Dang, guys, if you're going to commit crimes, stop doing it via text message, you dum-dums.
Taylor texted his current armor bearer and said this: You will have to raise $164,000 today. Each hour you fall behind, consequences will start. We will mess with the food. You will fast from the regular food or abstain for a while normally. As of now, there's a 21-day peanut butter and jelly regimen like before. Those who do not push in their calls individually and as a team with the right amount of people and closing numbers at 6 p.m., they don't eat dinner at all. If they do good afterward this time, then at the end of the night, they may get a snack before bed, but not much. And this regimen will go on every day for 21 days until they obey. Take away the food. There will be other consequences. We must make them fast and pray.
Sir, you cannot put these things in writing. You simply can't.
With all the exclamation points you would imagine.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So all of this,
what the fuck?
All of this made Taylor and Brannon very wealthy. And over the past decade, they took in about $50 million.
Patreon.com/Friendly Atheist Podcast.
Which they spent on luxury properties, luxury vehicles, and a boat, jet skis, and ATVs.
Patreon.com/Friendly Atheist Podcast.
And according to the solicitations, donations were supposed to go to things like providing water wells overseas and ironically supporting victims of human trafficking.
No.
Yeah. Now, there was some back and forth between lawyers over whether Brannon, the Jelaine of the operation, her lawyers were saying she should not be a part of this. She's a victim in all of this. And they said, we want to release her on bail in Michigan. Which is not where all of this really happened. But they argued...
ties to Michigan, or is it just
she kind of does. But basically, they said, her lawyer said, she's just another person subject to Taylor's influence and control. She just had a different supervisory level here.
Which could be true, but something tells me maybe not the most honest rating of the situation.
The government, to be clear, the federal government under Trump these days, the government said, absolutely not. We do not trust her.
Really?
Like they said, we cannot, quote, reasonably assure her appearance in court, the integrity of this proceeding, or the safety of any person in this community if she is set free. But in their response to why the judge should not let her go to Michigan, we learned a little more about what Taylor and Brannon did. And the weird thing is, this legal document, which is not the most important thing, it's not a ruling or anything. They're just saying you can't let her loose in Michigan. They said more, and this is what made a lot of headlines because I don't think people heard about the case until the details of that filing went public, and then people are like, wait, what happened in this ministry? So everything I just told you, it's been in the news for months now, but not a lot of people paid attention.
But there's more.
But what we found out with this new filing
I'm so excited.
Is that there were 57 workers and victims in these facilities.
Wow.
Brannon lied to officers and said she lived in a ministry compound with her son and 6 coworkers. And by the way, 2 of them are actually my bosses, my employers. And basically the government's like, no, you were the one in charge. And there were 57,
Please don't
not
lie to
6.
me.
We also found out that she was the one who lured those victims to the compound by promising to fulfill their spiritual hunger.
Some classic Myra Henley bullshit.
How did she convince them? By engaging in love bombing, by making them feel extra special, telling them Taylor is God's best friend. And by the way,
God needs better taste in friends.
After they took the bait, the abuse was nonstop. This is what the new filing said. During a rebuking, Taylor, Brannon, or a worker who worked for them, got inches from the face of another worker and screamed at them, calling them names like stupid, dumb, wicked, a racial slur, Lucifer, etc. Many times, workers were forced to kneel and repent to Taylor and God. Rebukings could last a few minutes to a few hours, depending on the situation. Oh, by the way, there are also more text messages that Brannon sent to victims. They include things like, he can die for this, the victim, the worker.
Fuck.
How about this? You will be punished constantly until you obey and train your heart and mind to obey the training.
Okay, well, first of all, you need an editor.
And when federal...
Did anybody die that they know of?
Yes.
No.
I think one person, they said, had died, but it's unclear the circumstances, so I don't want to say more there. When federal authorities raided all these compounds in August after the grand jury stuff, they also found an explicit video sent to Taylor by a female worker in which the worker cries and apologizes for the delay in completing the assignment being something sexual. There were also many other videos from female victims. Oh, and by the way, they were also trafficking children.
Oh,
because after the execution of church warrants, the government confirmed that multiple minor children of the workers lived in the call centers or properties. Some of these children have been separated from their parents for years.
Jeez. What state are we in?
All of them. Like
Really?
they had places all over.
Wow.
I can't remember if Texas is the hub for this, but there was a Houston facility that was raided. But anyway, so given all that, and given that Brannon, the Ghislaine clone, she legally tried to change.
Weird that you saddled yourself with having to say that name many times because you don't feel confident in it.
She tried to legally change her name this past summer. I don't know why. Is she trying to escape somewhere? I don't know. Given that as recently as 2 weeks ago, a worker with KOGGC, this church, told viewers of their broadcast, "We are in a war and it's time for you to decide if you're a warrior or you're not."
Yoicks.
And given that she has access to a ton of money, if they allowed her to set free and have access to PayPal or Venmo, and given that she has supporters who would likely help her intimidate current and former members of this church from speaking out against her, and given that she's loyal to Taylor, and given that there's evidence that Taylor told workers God will kill officials when referring to Michigan's Attorney General's office.
Jesus Christ.
He actually said, "We will watch you burn and the flesh melt off of your bones."
I think it burns off. I don't think it melts.
Maybe. And given that Taylor has told those workers that if government officials raid the place, quote, "you kill them on contact if they come in here with that foolishness, they need to die."
I do like being able to mug the camera when things like this happen.
Yes.
I can just go, blah, blah, blah.
And that's why the government did not want her to be set free.
Yeah. Wow, what a rare good choice by a government.
They said, thus, given Brannon's own reign of terror over her victims, her leadership role in the forced labor and money laundering conspiracies, her close personal and criminal relationship with Taylor, and her years of following Taylor's directions with fierce loyalty, she's a danger to the community if released. Now, the judge took all that and said, "I will let you be released to a home in Michigan, but there's a long list of rules." Like, you got to wear your ankle bracelet and all that stuff. I don't know what the details are. Yeah. Whatever. Some of those details went viral, but like a lot of this is not new information.
Right.
The allegations have been known for months. The only question now is, are Taylor and Brannon going to face any real consequences? There have been newspaper articles that talk about former members of this cult and like what their situations were like. And they're horrific. I mean, one guy said his ex-wife and I and me were too afraid to even verbally speak amongst one another because we thought we'd be speaking against God. My children have suffered trauma, emotionally speaking, especially after I left.
Oh, God.
Yeah. By the way, what's weird, I was looking up, have I ever talked about this guy? And it turns out I have.
Oh.
In 2016, I wrote an article about this guy at the time because he claimed on Facebook he had resurrected a woman from the dead by sending her a Facebook message.
Oh.
News to me.
Now, was this pre or post Messenger? Like, was it a separate app or did he do it through the Facebook app?
I can't remember. Oh. But when the Christian Post tried to verify any part of that story, it was the Christian Post reached out to Joshua Media Ministries International on Monday and requested an interview with the woman and her family. A representative said they were unable to divulge personal information about the family, but explained that they would pass along the reporter's contact information and would reach out if the family wished to talk.
This feels like that time when that woman claimed that she regrew her own toes.
Yes.
And everybody was like, dude, you can't say shit like that because that's provable.
Yeah. And that church is still going. By the way, there was another reason I talked about this guy. That wasn't the only reason. He's a known quantity because in 2015, he was accused of financial corruption and he ended up doing a deposition in court, and that videotape was public somehow. And some of the things he said in there were like, whatever the lawyer was for this, in cross-examining this guy.
Yeah.
On your 2012 tax return, who's Brooklyn Mitchell? Brooklyn? I don't know. You don't know who Brooklyn Mitchell is? No. You have no idea? No. Never heard of that person? No. Brooklyn Mitchell? Nope. On your 2012 tax return, you claimed Brooklyn Mitchell as a dependent through an exemption. Yeah. And then they asked, hey, what goes on at your residential center? Because you're basically saying
Nothing.
it's a
very chill
church
stuff.
You're saying it's a church thing. It's like, we know it's not. He said, well, it's a gathering place for our ministry where I bring in different leaders and also the staff, that we have a place, you know, a resort and teaching.
And then we call people and minister to them.
A resort where we teach and train.
A resort?
It was like a high luxury place.
Oh.
And he's like, that's a church. He didn't even know the address of that location. And then my favorite, the attorney says, so in June 2014, you spent $3,500 from the church's account to Versace in the Bahamas, yeah?
Oh, Versace in the Bahamas.
He says, I'm sure that's right. So you don't see that there's any problem when you're ministering to the poor, the sick, the needy, to be appearing in Louis Vuitton and Versace? Well, that ain't something I purchase all the time. Well, it looks like you did several times. I'm a very frugal person when it comes to this. I go to the right places to get a lot of suits. And if I get some from those places, you don't see that in the bill. Attorney.
Are you sure?
I don't see Macy's. Taylor says, no, you don't see that because Macy's don't have the kind of suits that I wear. Oh my God. Beautiful stuff.
I love this.
And by the way, the other reason he had made news before all this is because 2014, right before the Super Bowl, he predicted the Denver Broncos would win the Super Bowl. They then
predict that.
Lost 43-8.
Of course they did. It's the Denver Broncos.
Now, anyway, besides all that, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else here. They have known for years this guy is abusive. There was an article from 2019 in which a former member of this ministry talked about misbehavior, including physical assault and sleep deprivation. There was a gospel singer who once dated Taylor and then wrote a book subtitled Free from a Hidden Cult, where she talks about him and said, and I'm quoting, he preys on women. He does not honor women. Women are just a vagina. Apparently, he also told this woman that if she ever went public with her stories, she
would be struck down.
Would get cancer.
I mean, I got it.
Yep. And then she said he made...
I mean, statistically, everyone's going to get cancer.
There you go. She also said that he made women, and he had dozens of them, he made them send him not safe for work pictures so that he could then use it to blackmail them. Revenge porn, basically.
Oh, so this is literally exactly a cult.
Yeah.
This is literally every page in the cult playbook.
I think there was one other thing. When he announced a new campus in Texas, one of the places that was raided by law enforcement, one of the things he said during the announcement, and it's on his website, like you could read, like, hey, we have a new place here, and then it goes on for a while. This is not a labor cult. or cult of any kind.
Going to be at the end of every tag of our shows. This isn't a labor cult, guys.
It's never good when you have to describe your ministry.
To preempt cult accusations.
Your questions about my labor cult are clearly answered on my shirt that says this is not a labor cult.
Don't worry, not a cult. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Look away.
He also said they always try to flip the script. For example, Martin Luther King fought for equal rights, but the Caucasian culture made him out to be a communist person, like he was doing something wrong. They have even tried to disparage my name and character as a black man through through false sexual allegations. This is nothing but slander and lies.
Okay, well, I really almost tore him a new one for comparing himself to MLK until I realized he was black, because that, I mean, it's not great, but boy, that made me uncomfortable.
Second story in a row in which a man of God has been exposed as a predator. Alleged.
It's so weird.
Allegedly.
It's almost like the pattern exists and we can see it time and time again. And there's literally no real evidence of any trans people attacking children in any way.
No drag queens mentioned in today's episode.
No drag queens yet. So just can't wait. I guess they're all going to plan to do it in one big fell swoop or something like
maybe.
that. But there you go. Still just mostly dudes trying to murder women as much as they can.
What are we talking about in the bonus today?
Well, I'm going to go through my little trip that I took to Kentucky for my B-Day, wherein I met many animals. We went to a park that had capybaras and sloths and camels and zebras and other animals, and it was wonderful.
Lovely.
And I'm using that opportunity to try to play with this video thing, so I'm going to try to do a presentation that we can see the pictures, and then we'll see. We'll see if it works.
We'll see.
Who knows if it's going to work?
And we'll talk about the cubbies.
Oh, I won't. I don't give a shit.
All right.
I also want to talk about that Aaron Hernandez thing again because I have more things to say
All
about
right.
it.
We'll see you in the bonus. Remember, go to patreon.com/friendlyatheistpodcast
Yes.
to support the
Oh,
show.
wait.
Leave us reviews.
Yeah,
Leave us good reviews. Otherwise, don't leave us reviews. And listen, all we're asking for is $500,000 so we can make our late night talk show.
I mean, we could
It's
just
all
do
we
a
ask.
lot with that money.
Do we have a review that you were going to read for us?
I don't know if we've read this already, but informative and entertaining. Jesus Christ. Entertaining. Octoboy 8. Jessica and Hemant are a fantastic combination. Hemant does a very impressive amount of investigation, and Jessica provides color and emotional depth. Oh, thank you. Through her reactions and commentary, which is some much needed amusement with how depressing the news is these days. It's a dynamic they share, which makes this podcast something I love listening to. It's not just basic information, nor off the cuff chit chatter. It's educational while also being a joy to listen to. I truly appreciate both hosts for making my week better. Hi,
Thanks
Jessica.
so much. Appreciate
Hi,
it.
Octoboy 8. Thank you so much. I like that you really laid down the 8 twice in your name. All right, so
We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Goodbye.